Ming, 66, died on April 2, 2021 from injuries he sustained a day earlier as he was struck down while riding his motorcycle at J.B. Singh Road and Thomas Lance, Georgetown. The vehicle, an ambulance, was carrying a COVID-19 patient to the Infectious Diseases Hospital at Lilliandale. His death, a shock to the Lusignan Golf Club, as only days before he lured other members to place a wager and had an enjoyable round of golf, has impacted the small fraternity, and the stories of his unflinching commitment to the ideals of fair play, honesty, and integrity came to the fore in tributes after a memorial tournament in his honor.
I play over hundreds of games with Colin. And the period I spent with Colin, we were always involved in the constitution of the club, the local rules, the fairway, the machinery, every aspect that you can think about that the Lusignan Golf Club had to deal with, we were all involved, myself and Colin. So we got a very good relationship going. But you know this thing sometimes, as they say in marriage, teeth and tongue does bite. But you know, Colin, things could go a little haywire. But we sorted out and everything went well, eventually. So in that process, there were certain personality traits that one could have gathered from Colin. And I'm quite certain members of the family would have heard it hundreds of times recently. A dedicated person, a meticulous person, a sincere person, a person that would give everything of his own as long as he's involved in a particular project.
Unfortunately, I have never had the pleasure of having a game with Colin, but I could assure his family that there wouldn't be a round of golf that is played on this course that Colin's name would not be mentioned in, because golf has a lot of rules, as you guys know. And Colin's name would always come up. You know what? Colin would never accept that. And from my understanding, speaking to other elders in this club who were far more experienced and had dealings with him, they would say Colin would be coming through going through the course, playing his tournament with others, but he would know what's going on all the other 9 holes. So that's the kind of alertness he had. That's the kind of passion he brought to the game.
And one of the first memories I have with Colin is actually the first time I've been sent back to the tee box to hit my third shot, because I happened to be looking for my ball and I knew it went into the ditch. I happened to be looking for it and I decided I would drop after maybe about a minute of looking for it. Colin said, "Hey, gotta go back to the tee box." And I was mad. Because it's a long walk, and but you appreciate these things about Colin because he keeps everyone honest.
He was always fun. He was helpful, instructive, kind to people. I remember in the flood of 2005, he organized care packages for caddies and their families in the village. How we came up with those metal fishing boats, right, and went around the village with a small outboard motor, distributing to caddies and their families and other people in need in the village. He was just always very helpful, and he basically organized that on his own. He did everything. We just came along to assist with it.
I would have first met Colin in the 90s. Like myself, Colin is an ardent sports person, and I was at National Athletics Championship at Bordeaux, and I saw Colin there vociferously, running behind some students, getting them in order. Upon finding out, he actually had about 3 athletes that he had sponsored that year. The athletics community really looked up to Colin. And I was made to understand that through his efforts, he was responsible for over 30 to 40 of local athletes over the year getting into the NCAA program because of the contribution from him and the Ming family.
Respecting the rules of the game, respecting what is important in life, your relationships with your family, with your wife, with your children, with your brothers and sisters, with the world. That is all we have. When you leave and you go, what do you take with you? You take a legacy. You take what people think of you. And here, Colin Ming is a multimillionaire. because he left a legacy here. Amazing person. Kids, I'm sorry that you lost your father, but I'm sure he would have imbued in you and taught you phenomenal values. Our hearts are with you. Good luck.
I just want to echo the sentiments of everyone here in terms of Colin's dedication and his exactness when it comes to the golf course. I can remember when I started playing golf, I had a tremendous slice, and Basil, the late Basil, used to teach me, and Basil tried all he can to get me out of the slice. I'm slicing. So after Basil passed, there was no one else, and somebody told me talk to Colin. So I met Colin downstairs at night time. Colin said, let me see you swing. In the club, I get my club and I swing. Colin started telling me about the dynamics and the in-out and how the ball spin this way, what have you, and so on. And ladies and gentlemen, indeed, Colin is really a fanatic. He's very technical. He's very, very technical in understanding games inside out.
That day I caught a 70-pound skeet. He said it was a skeet. I didn't know much about fishing. 70 pounds. Yeah, that was my biggest catch and the only catch. And how significant is that is because I went fishing many other times for years and never catch a fish. All right, so that fishing trip was very, very good to me, and it's one I will always remember for Colin. For the karate, we were there with his son, and he would give my son coaching, and he would call me and say, when he get hit, you got to hit back harder. You can't crouch in this thing. You got to hit back harder. And would always give me coaching lessons for my son and karate. So I agree. All the members, when Colin is in, he's all in. Give you everything that he has. And I always cherish that memory that I have with him.
What I want to say to you about Colin and his services to the club and the equipment is on many occasions I would pass through the workshop at the office and I would see him fixing the greens more. And invariably, he did it himself. He didn't trust anyone of the technicians who he trained with Yamaha outboard motors and generators. He paid a personal interest in the equipment belonging to this club, I can tell you that, because I saw him doing it. Unfortunately, I don't have the skills of fixing greens more like he does. So I can't promise you that I can do it. However, as you said, my brother was very competitive. I remember we started competing where we lived in Kitty with hopscotch. Then we competed with marbles. Then we competed at fishing, right? And in most cases, he beat me because, as you said, he was very, very competitive and he paid a lot of attention to details. I didn't. The only thing I would say that I beat him at was motor racing, motorcycles, because I paid a lot of attention to that. I'm glad to hear that he left something that you all are most appreciative of, which is what I knew him about, which is honesty and integrity. And that is something you cannot fake or you cannot buy. And I'm glad to know that that is the legacy that he's leaving with you. And we very much appreciate this gesture because I think it's a fitting one that you've identified and shared with us today. Thank you.